show. Super excited that you're here. I'm sorry we are a little bit late. We were having some tech issues. Live video, it is what it is, right? You never know what you're going to get. Today, we are going to be talking about Pinterest. And I think Pinterest is like one of those little nuggets, jewels, if you will, from a marketing perspective that most of us are not embracing. We may be using Pinterest to surf around, find, bathroom designs if we want a new bathroom or, whatever. I think a lot of times we are absolutely end users of Pinterest, but we're not leveraging it from a marketing perspective. And that's what I want to tweak your interest on today and really ultimately, hopefully, say, hey, y'all need to be paying attention to Pinterest because it's an incredible traffic source. I've long said that you only need two things to sell online, and that's a wonderful product or service that someone wants, and then you have to put it in front of those people, which requires a traffic source. And Pinterest is a great traffic source. I just recently discovered that Pinterest is my top social media traffic source, which was kind of stunning for me because Twitter for forever has been my number one traffic source. So the fact that Pinterest supplanted Twitter is kind of fascinating to me, and it's realigned my interest in Pinterest as well. So if you guys are interested in learning how to leverage Pinterest, we're going to talk about that today. Why Pinterest and why now, and really dig into it a little bit more. As you guys are coming in, give me a shout out. Where in the world are you today? Let's see, a couple of things. Since we had those tech issues, I'm a little out of sorts, but I have a couple of giveaways that we're going to do today. We're going to give away a ring light and a little webcam cover. I don't have it right in front of me, but essentially it's just a little thing that you slip over your camera so that people can't spy on you. I guess that's a little bit of a thing right now, where people are jumping in and spying. So we have. Can you put that back up? I didn't get. Yeah. Okay. So we have Shannon. Good morning, Shannon. And I think we had. I didn't see the name, but we have someone from India with us. So welcome. Ann Arbor. Hey, Christina. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, everyone. If you are brand new and have never been on one of my shows before, just drop in #new. I'd love to say, hey, meet you. Lisa is saying, as a marketer, I know the power of Pinterest, but never utilized it to its max for myself. Yes, trust me, I get that. And we're going to talk about that today because I've really been digging into Pinterest, and we got a lot of Pinterest things planned, by the way, because like I say, I found it's an interesting opportunity and a missed opportunity for most. Hey, Paul, good morning. I hope you're feeling well. And you've rebounded. I know you were a little under the weather there for a bit. So again, if you have never been on one of my shows before, just drop in #new. I'd love to meet you. My name is Kim Garst. I'm an online marketing strategist, and that's just a fancy title, I guess, if you will, for something I'm super passionate about, which is shortening people's learning curves when it comes to making more money in their businesses. Using the online space. I've been an online marketer for almost 30 years. Yeah, it's hard to even embrace that concept. It doesn't seem like it's been 30 years, but it's been a long time, been around a long time, and I love sharing my knowledge and bringing other people who have amazing zones of genius to you so that you can learn from them as well. So going back to the prizes, the way you win today's prizes is if you have an aha moment, like you hear something and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Or even if it's something you did know and you just needed to hear it again, drop in those aha moments. Let's see which one. There we go. With the #aha, that's how we choose our winners. And we have a very special gift for everybody today. This is something I've been working on in conjunction with our sponsor, Easil.com, for several months, and we finally got it done. So if you guys are interested in getting 30 days of pre-designed content, in conjunction with our sponsor, Easil.com, then let's see, what is the link for that? I think, hang on just a second. What is the link? It is kimgarst.com/free images. There you go. So if you guys go there, it's a calendar, 30 days of pre-designed content. If you click on any of the links or the edit link under any of the images, it will open up inside of Canva and you can change the colors. You can add your branding to it, like your logo or anything that you want, but it's got pre-designed content there. It's amazing content. You're going to love it. I highly recommend that you go grab that. And Easil.com is free to use, at least at a baseline. If you want some of the fancier stuff, you can definitely pay for the tool. But free content here, guys. So go grab it, kimgarst.com/free images. I think you'll love our sponsor, which is Easil.com. Okay, so I always like to start with something a little bit fun. And today we're going to do what I call a guessing game. It's all Pinterest related. I will let you know that. But I think that there's so many things that we as marketers don't know about Pinterest. So I'm going to pull up the first guessing game here. So can we get rid of that aha there too, just so everybody can see that? There you go. Thanks. So y'all, so guessing game, question number 1, what percentage of Pinterest users are women? I'd love to know what you guys think. As most of you are probably aware, a lot of the end users on Pinterest are women, but interestingly enough, there are a lot of men too, especially here in the US. Here in the US, about 40% of the end users are men, which I find fascinating. But this is overall, like, worldwide. What percentage of Pinterest users are women? So drop in what you guys think. Is it 32%? Is it 71%? Is it 90%? I'd love to know what everybody's guess is, if you will. All right, do we have any guesses yet? So Shannon is saying 90, okay. And Kelly is saying 71. We'll get a couple of guesses up here and see. Kathy is saying 71. Let's see, I think it's Mary Ann. Hopefully I said that correctly. 90%. Sabrina's saying 90%. Well, the true number is 71%. Worldwide end users are women, guys. And I say guys generically. All right, next question up for you guys is, pulling that up, what percentage of Pinterest users say they use Pinterest for inspiration around their buying decisions? Now, this is super big because if you think about it in the context of, people spending money and doing it from the context of, what are they looking for? I think this is a really big and interesting thing. So what do you guys think? Is it 22%, 52%, or 89%? And I think a lot of times when you think about this from the inspiration around their buying decisions, you're immediately thinking, well, if somebody needs a new bathroom, they're probably scoping out, bathrooms, right? Or if it's, I don't know, it could be, you think about it in the home context a lot, or clothing, or, physical products. But what I found interesting when I was doing research on this is the hot trends, search trends. When it came to Pinterest last year so Heather is saying 52%, were things that were like not that kind of thing. So like art therapy activities was one of the huge search terms in the past year. It was up 444%. So Kelly is saying 89%. Stu is saying 89%. Hey Stu, good to see you. And those of you who said 89%, you are right. So going back to, again, thinking in this through from the perspective of it not necessarily being physical products, like a self-discovery journal prompts was one of the top search terms last year. 147% people were looking for those types of things. So it's not necessarily a physical product that, in the context of inspiration and what people are searching for, it could be products and services that you and I have. And so don't think of it from the perspective of it's just a physical thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to have a Home Depot board all around my bathrooms, or whatever. It's way bigger than that. And opening your mind and your maybe your creativity from the perspective of how do you show up there in ways that people are going to find you and ultimately buy from you. Okay, so I have one more question, and then we're going to bring our special guest on. So, last question for you is: Pinterest is blank times more likely to create a sale than any other social platform. Now, this is super important from the context of selling, because most of us are using, if we're a marketer and we own a business, we are using social media ultimately with the end goal, if you will, to sell, or at least attract the right people to us, so that somewhere along the line, those people will buy from us, right? So is it 0% more likely, meaning it's just as equal as any other social platform? Or is it 2 times more likely? Or is it 4 times more likely? I'm just really curious as to what you guys think in this context, because I think sometimes people think that like Instagram is the bomb, right? And I'm not knocking Instagram because it's awesome too. But Debbie is saying C. Instagram is amazing for sales too, but I find this really telling. This number, maybe I'm giving it away a little bit, but I'm just seeing what other guesses we have. Paula saying 4 times. All right. And Shannon saying 4 times. Well, guess what, guys? Yes, Pinterest is 4 times more likely to create a sale than other social platforms. And yet, this is another stunning stat for you. Only 28% of marketers are using Pinterest for their business. Why in the world? If it's 4 times more likely to create a sale, why are we not there, right? Okay, so I'm going to bring a special guest on today. I want to introduce you guys to her. So Amy came my way through a personal recommendation. I'm super excited to have an opportunity to kind of pick her brain with you all. So she is the founder of Living Lacurdo. I hope I said that correctly, Amy. A DIY lifestyle blog. She is one of the very first Pinterest ambassadors, which I'm going to ask her, like, what is that? And what is that? Is that like, that's a cool thing, right? She now shares her best Pinterest secrets and tools at amycircle.com, and she helps busy entrepreneurs maximize traffic to their website with minimum time. So that's what this show is all about. It's like, how do you get an end result with specific strategies without losing your mind or pulling out all your hair? So welcome, welcome. Put your hands together for Amy. Hey, Amy.
Hey guys, how are you?
Well, I am
Okay,
really excited.
I'm not able to hear you again. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna
Oh,
try to
no.
get out and back in.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't
I'm going to
hear.
keep
I'm so
talking.
sorry.
That's okay. So we've had tech issues trying to get Amy in today. So she finally was able to get in on her phone. But I'll just keep talking to y'all and telling you little nuggets about Pinterest. I'm really interested in Amy's story on Pinterest because she is a lifestyle blogger, which I think a lot of times when you think Pinterest, you think lifestyle bloggers, right? Which is it's a perfect platform for them. But again, there's so many opportunities for any type of business to leverage the power of Pinterest. One of the things that I find really interesting, again, I'm going to circle back to it while we're waiting on Amy to come back in, is the fact that from a marketing perspective, I really feel like lots of us, and I'd love to know your take on this. Are you using Pinterest for business? Or are you using Pinterest just to like, and there's no judgment, okay? There's no judgment here. You're using Pinterest to like just for inspiration and fun and checking out the latest recipe you want. I just got a new Instapot. Well, no, I've had the Instapot for a while. I just decided I was going to start using it recently, and I'm like, okay, so what's some great recipes? Where do you go to find great recipes? You go to Pinterest, right? So, but from a marketing perspective, are you using Pinterest for your business? I'd be really curious about that because I think that there's so many people. Obviously, the percentages based off of what I found in the preliminary research for the show was only 28% of marketers are using Pinterest right now. So, would love to know if you are currently using Pinterest for your business. Hopefully, we can get Amy back on here. Otherwise, y'all are just going to get to pick my brain on Pinterest. And I got a lot to share. Like I said, I'll just tell my story real quick. About 2 months ago, my social team came to me and said, hey, Kim, maybe it's been 3 months. I'd say it's been 3 months. Hey, Kim, did you know that Pinterest is driving more traffic to your blog than any other social platform? And I'm like, really? No, I didn't know this. And it made sense in the context. So Lisa's saying, I use Pinterest for business, but I'm not even close to consistent. Okay. So we're going to talk about that too, because I've had to shift my gears substantially once I figured this out. So about probably 6 months or more ago, we brought Jeff C., who is a Pinterest pro, onto the team. And he did some cleanup for my Pinterest and, got us on the track, trained the team to do our Pinterest stuff. And when the team told me that now Pinterest is driving more traffic than any of the other social platforms, I was like, really, really? So all the work that Jeff did on the front side of the project, and then as the team started to implement all that, we really saw the fruit and the benefit from it. So super passionate right now about social platforms that have the capability of driving traffic to us, more from an evergreen perspective. So, or from a search perspective, maybe that's a better way of saying it. So right now, if you post something on Facebook, it has a very short lifespan. And that's assuming that you have the ability to be seen, meaning you have an engaged community on your fan page, right? Because Facebook is curtailing the reach. If you post something on Twitter, it has a lifespan of 30 seconds. But if you share something on Pinterest, or you have a video on YouTube, for example, those those social platforms have what I call longevity, marketing longevity. And that gives you an opportunity to really benefit from those platforms at a much higher level than Facebook or Twitter right now, and arguably even Pinterest, because that content, not Pinterest, Instagram, because that content doesn't have as long of a lifespan, and people aren't searching or actively searching for content like they are on Pinterest or YouTube. So I really started to focus on the platforms that I think have longer lifespan for the content that we share there, and hopefully you can see the value of that too. It's not that the other social platforms are not value based. I'm not like saying that, but I feel like with Pinterest in particular, it is not one of those platforms where it's social. So you don't have to spend a lot of time like engaging with people there. You just have to have consistent strategies for sharing great content. So it doesn't look like we've got Amy back just yet, but we will. I'm just going to go along. Okay. Oh, okay. We are literally operating on the fly today. So y'all are going to get a special treat in just a moment. So hang in there. You're not going to get just me. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get Amy back, but we have another surprise for you. So hang in there, because as soon as we can get that surprise moving along, I have a special surprise for you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit while we're waiting about how Pinterest is different from other social platforms. I just touched on it a little bit, but one of the reasons that I think Pinterest is so besides the traffic, is the fact that we don't have to spend as much time there. Like I said, it's not a social platform. There's not a lot of engagement going on Pinterest. But people are absolutely searching and finding our content and following the links from Pinterest to our blog, or wherever we're driving the traffic. You could even be driving affiliate traffic, hint, hint, hint. They did I guess a year or so back, they changed that rule. In the past, they weren't allowing for affiliate links, but now they do. So there's so much opportunity, I think, with Pinterest from a traffic perspective. and again, not having to babysit the platform from an engagement perspective is super nice. So what does that look like for us? It just requires us to have a really great scheduling tool and some content that we want to drive traffic to. So that could be, our own content. It could be other people's content. It probably should be a mix of other people and our content, pinning other stuff, and really fleshing out the boards that we create on Pinterest. So like I say, I'm just waiting on our surprise guest now. He'll be here in just a minute. So right now, looks like, hang on just a second. I'm going to pull this up on my phone so I can see y'all, because I can't see the comments right now on the tool that I am currently using. So give me a second here. Hope you guys will. Aha! And here's our special surprise.
Can you guys hear me okay? Am I on?
I can hear you, Jeff.
Okay, sorry guys. This is crazy. I just got back from working out, and so I look a little homeless. So I threw a hat on and threw a shirt on, so I'm sorry. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm trying to run the show and get on camera at the same time, which has been interesting. Never done that before. So
okay. So let me set the stage a little bit. I told you all this is going to be one of those. It's obviously been a crazy show so far, but Jeff C. This is Jeff C. Jeff is he started Manly Pinterest Tips, which is kind of going back to the stats when we were talking about most are end users are women. Well, obviously he is not a woman, and he's very manly. Look at that beard, right? But he is amazing. He runs the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. He is a Pinterest pro. And since he was running the show and we couldn't get Amy back in, he did me the kindness of saying, don't worry about the fact that I just got through with working out and I look a little grungy. I'm just going to come on and share my genius with you. So
this is how live video works. And, I know Kim, I didn't want her to flounder around, so I'm excited that I get to be on the show. So I see Amy is in the comments, so she's going to be also helping to answer some questions, especially if I get anything wrong. She'll let me know. But we had Amy. She's amazing. We do want to get her on the show because we had her on the Tailwind show not very long ago, and she is awesome. And so I can only try to fill her shoes, but we'll see what we can do.
Well, that's awesome. So, Jeff, I'll just ask you my Amy questions without, the added. Well, I won't ask the questions that relate to her business, but I'll ask like the whole opportunity. I think from the marketing perspective right now, what's your take on Pinterest as it stands today, and why now? Why should marketers be paying attention to Pinterest right now?
So because Pinterest, for one thing, I know a lot of people lump it in as another social media network, like, say, you mentioned Instagram earlier in the show and something like. It's not. It's a search engine. So think of it if like, I can't remember who said this the other day, but it was some Pinterest somebody I follow, but she said that imagine if Instagram and Google had a baby. That would be Pinterest, because it's a visual search engine. In fact, the founders of Pinterest don't like you even talking about it as a search engine. They think that they call it a visual discovery engine. So it's more of where people go and search and look, and they're trying to like find out things about their life, things that they're interested in. It's not so much as a social network, which is really good for your business because there's no fake news on it. There's none of that kind of stuff you have to muddy through. And people go to Pinterest because they are wanting to discover things. They're wanting to discover new products. In fact, Pinterest is one of the only platforms out there where people like to see brands. They like to see stuff from Target and Home Depot and all that stuff. They see things they want to have. So your audience is already predispositioned to business, because if you're putting stuff out there that they're wanting to discover or learn more about or enrich their lives in some way, feeling that and they're a perfect audience for businesses, I guess what I'm trying to say.
I totally agree. And, they're there, honestly, in so many cases to search for things they want to buy.
Right.
I mean, that's right? Which is, hello, where can you certainly can't say that about Facebook because so many people tune into Facebook for friends and family stuff. So when it comes to Pinterest right now, though, what kind of trends are you seeing? Like, can you like, what's some of the hot ones right now? What's hot? Maybe that's a better way of saying that. What's hot on Pinterest right now?
So you know what? It kind of depends. There's a lot of things that are hot right now, but the thing is Pinterest has a new tool that lets you discover this. And I think, let me double check, and Amy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's trends.pinterest.com, and you can actually go see what is hot on Pinterest right now. So it is a great tool. This is kind of a recent addition. Let me double check. Yeah, I've got so many buttons I'm pushing right now. But Pinterest has a graphic called for trends, so you can find out for yourself what's happening right now. And one of the things, Pinterest is very seasonal. Like, you know, if you're pinning Halloween stuff right now, you're too late. I mean, because I usually say whatever's in Walmart, go a couple months before that, and that's when you should be pinning that content. So it's very seasonal. But I can't tell you right now what's really hot. I know what's hot kind of in my industry. I mean, holiday stuff, they're already starting to pin that. That's coming up. A lot of those seasonal type of recipes, a lot of those seasonal types of gifts. For my kind of manly stuff, you know, now that football's been back, I've been seeing an uptick on a lot of my, you know, guy food, manly food kind of tailgating kind of things that have been going on. But yeah, if you're wanting to find out like what's happening right now on Pinterest check out their trends. I think it's trends.pinterest.com, and check that out. But it's a really helpful tool.
Yeah, I just stumbled across that recently too, and I've been using it a lot. So when it comes though to just the average person who is like, well, I don't have like that kind of content. You know, I'm a business coach, you know, or I'm whatever. I have digital products, I have digital services, that kind of stuff. And I'll just phrase this question from my perspective because I think some of my community is like me. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a lot of blog content. So for me, my blog content drives a lot of traffic. You know, I'll pin my blog images and then, you know, it'll drive traffic. Right. But my question is, because I think a lot of times people think, well, okay, well, how do you monetize that traffic? So if traffic, you know, if I post an image of my blog, somebody clicks and they go there, do you have some strategies for people to make sure that they convert those people from just a traffic nameless face into something that matters?
Yeah. So one of the things, and I've had a lot of clients that I've worked with their Pinterest account before, and it's not with Kim's because Kim does it right, but a lot of times when you start using Pinterest and using it consistently, it's kind of a slow burn. It kind of has a snowball effect. If you start putting, let's say, your blog content, like you mentioned out there, you are going to see traffic start to increase to your site, which is great. And I can do that a lot of times for a lot of clients. I made, like you, the Pinterest was their #1 driver of social traffic. The problem is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know that old saying. And so you've got to have a funnel, and you've got to be able to capture those people. So a lot of people, and I see this a lot of times starting out, especially beginning bloggers, they will have a great Pinterest image. They'll do all the things. They'll have a plugin on their site. They'll have the pin it later kind of thing, and they'll share it out there, and they'll get traffic back. But it doesn't go anywhere. It just is there. They don't have any on their blog. They don't have any calls to action. They don't have anything. Because people are coming to your site, they want to do something. You've already got them there. Give them the next step to move forward. And if they don't have that, if you just have like on your sidebar something about your newsletter, no, you need to have that in that article. You want to have a very clear call to action. The other thing that I see for conversions is you want to make sure that that Pinterest image kind of matches the where they're landing. So you want to have that same kind of image on their landing page. So like for Kim's Pinterest, what we do is there's like the team creates like 5 different images that are based on that article, but they're all similar. So they all tie in. So when you land on Kim's, click on her pin and land on her page, you know it's still there. There's nothing is more frustrating on Pinterest is when you click on something and you go to some random page or it doesn't make sense or you're like, this isn't what I thought I was getting. You don't want to do that. So, because you'll see your bounce rate on your analytics go off the chart if they're not seeing that there's a connection between the pin, what you promised them on the pin, and what they get at that landing page. So if you're going to give them, the 5 biggest reasons to start a blog, you want to take them there. You want to have those 5 reasons right there where they can get it, and a free sign up to get on your email opt in for your 5-week course on how to blog better or whatever. So, I mean, you want to have those things that connect when you do that Pinterest. Because, I mean, Pinterest will drive traffic. It really will. It's a search engine. It's going to drive those people there. But you want to make sure that there's that visual connection, and you also want to make sure you don't get them there with nothing to do. Does that make sense?
It does, absolutely. And just following along with that, if you're driving a lot of traffic to your blog and you're not moving those people to somewhere that it matters, they're random faceless people and you may never see them again. They're not just going to bump into your website again unless they follow one of your pins again. And then there's still that disconnect. They're probably not even going to realize it's the same site they've been on before. So a couple of suggestions real quick. Let's, like Jeff said, have something in your sidebar that where they can opt in perhaps. But if you're really focusing in on your blog itself, doing things like content upgrades. Maybe your blog is a long blog and you could, put it into a PDF and ask people to opt in for it because they don't want to take the time to read it in that moment. But it's great, valuable content and they would like it. So maybe they'll download it, right? Or you could have suggestion, some sort of a freebie of some sort that ties into the content or a free course or anything, or even yes, something for sale that is in that same lane. Mm-hmm. We've been really doing this, incorporating things like, if we have a workshop that takes people further down that road, then, we make sure we embed it into the blog itself. So and this is true, honestly, for any traffic source you have. If you're driving traffic to your content, it just makes sense to be able to move them to a place where you can nurture those folks. If it's a freebie, then they're on your list then, and you can really nurture them and ultimately get them to buy things from you in the future. So Jeff,
can I bring up a comment real quick? Because I want to talk about this a little bit. So, because I know, so Robin says, say no to bounces. Very, very true. And then Andrea asked this question, where do you see bounce rates? So this, I think, is really, really important. So a couple of things. If you're doing, and this is going back to the basics, if you're getting started on Pinterest, if you're watching this, you're like, yes, I want to get started. What you want to do is make sure that you have a Pinterest business account. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one is if you're doing any sort of selling or sending people to your blog posts or anything like that, if you don't do that, you are actually breaking Pinterest terms of service. Now, I haven't heard of anybody getting kicked off for doing that yet, but just to be careful, you want to make it a Pinterest business account. And I was really worried when I had gotten on Pinterest early and I had a lot of followers and it was still a personal account, and Pinterest allows you to easily convert a personal account to business account. And I was really worried that this wasn't going to work. It was going to be screwed up, but it's seamless. I mean, you click a button and it automatically does it. So if you have one and you've been worried about it, don't be. It's really easy. Nothing happens. The second thing is when you do go into and create a Pinterest business account, you are allowed then, number one, to use what's called the promoted pins, where you can make ads, kind of like Facebook ads, which is really, really important. And two, you get access to their analytics and some other things that are really, really cool. So that's really important. But back to the question that Andrea said, where do you see the bounce rate? You also check out your Google Analytics. So that's where I'm checking my bounce rate. So if I see a certain URL has a really high bounce rate and I know that I'm getting a lot of traffic to that page from Pinterest, I'm going, either my call to action or my funnel isn't clear, or there's something wrong with that page that they're getting to. So I always look at the bounce rate to see if I'm getting higher than usual on I mean, you're going to get some, because some people are going to go and leave. That's fine. You're never going to get a zero bounce rate. But if you're seeing it really high or seeing it going up, then there's something probably wrong with that page, or there's a disconnect and you probably need to rework that landing page. So I hope that answers your question, Andrea.
Yeah, that's a really great question too, because the fact that, lots of times people will think that they have to have some fancy smancy tools or they're going to have to pay for stuff like that. And there are a lot of great free tools out there that can help you make better decisions, I guess is a good way of saying it. Okay, so when I was talking about hot trends before, I was really talking about more in alignment with not necessarily what end users are consuming, but what Pinterest is really pushing right now. So like, I'll just hint, video pins. What's that look like, and why should we be paying attention to video pins right now?
So Pinterest has said, And whenever Pinterest says something, you kind of want to sit up and take notice. They say, because we've talked about that before on the show, is the fresh pin strategy, where you're having like one blog post and you're creating multiple pins that point back to the blog post, which is still a thing. But Pinterest has said that they want to see a variety of pins. And that made a lot of us, power pinners sit up and take notice. Like, okay, what are they saying? And so they wanted to see video pins, and they want to see these new things that haven't rolled out to everybody called story pins. But the video pins thing is really, really exciting to me because I come from a video background, like live video and a bunch of other stuff. And so what does that mean, and why do they want to do that? Well, if Pinterest has always been a static environment. So like if you're scrolling through the feed, it was all static images. And so when these video pins came out, they really pop out in the feed. I always call them, I call them Harry Potter pins, because if you remember in Harry Potter movie, they'd open up the newspaper and then certain of the newspaper articles, photos would like move and stuff. And so that's what it reminds me of on Pinterest. And so, those video pins really, really catch the eye. And so Pinterest is really pushing those, and it's very, very exciting because there's some new tools coming out that, I know Kim and I will be talking about a little bit later. But they're very, very cool. They really catch the eye. And from what I've seen, is they've really kind of engagement and even clicks. And I know Amy has been doing even some stuff, because we had her on the Tailwind show not very long ago, and she was talking about how she's even taken some of her TikTok stuff, and she does a lot of, I'd never heard this term before she talked about it, called pans and hands. When you see those recipes when they're making something in their pans and you see the hands, she does a lot of those, and they do really well for her on Pinterest. So anyway, so those are really hot. It's kind of the newest thing. And when Pinterest says, hey, we'd like to have, see some more of these, then you probably ought to need to start making them.
Yeah. So quick hint, y'all, is we got a couple of really big things coming up around Pinterest. I hinted at it earlier, but next week we're going to do a Pinterest Palooza. So be on the lookout for that. We have some amazing guests. Jeff is involved in that. And then the following week, we're going to be doing a challenge that's going to be totally free. So I'm just giving you, so literally, I don't have all the details to give you today, but just know that we got you. We got some things in the works for you, and Pinterest is definitely something you need to be paying attention to. So for the next 2 weeks, starting next week, we're really going to be digging into Pinterest and sharing some amazing stuff. So be on the lookout. So, okay, so when it comes to video pins, let's talk about maybe not the semantics. That's not the wrong word, but the differences between or maybe the suggested formats. Should they be landscape, or should they be vertical, or should they be square? What's the preferred format, if you will, for video pins, and should they? Well, let me go there. We'll go there first, and then I'll ask about length of videos.
Yeah, so that's what Paul was asking. How long is a video pin? And so what they have said is the shorter ones are usually perform better. So because it's kind of like Facebook. A view is counted as 3 seconds. So when you're scrolling through the feed, and if somebody stops for 3 seconds in that scroll, that will count as a view on for the video pins. So they're liking the longer ones. I still think the taller ones perform better. There's been some good stats that I've had some friends do some studies on, and they've noticed that the longer ones and the square ones don't necessarily do bad either. The landscape ones, like what you're used to seeing on YouTube, do not work as well as square and the taller versions. So keep that in mind when you're creating and testing those. A lot of people, Pinterest says also to optimize not using sound. So that's important as well. So the ones that Pinterest has used for like their best kind of case studies and examples, it's demonstrating a product. So if you have, like, let's say a new carpet cleaner, people showing you cleaning the carpet, or if there's a new grout cleaner that's taking out, making your grout really shine on your tiles, they're showing the before and after, and they scrub it down, and it happens really quick. So your action in the pin, on the video pin, needs to happen really, really quickly, because remember, people are scrolling through that feed, and you want to make them stop. So, Kim always says create thumb stopping content. Well, you really need to do thumb stopping content on your video pins. You want to catch them right away. So I've even made this mistake when I was creating before. is I've, you know, a lot of times when you're creating video or motion graphics, it kind of ramps up, and, you know, that ramp up needs to go away. It needs to happen. Just bam, like color or splash or something that'll catch that eye as they're scrolling through the feed. So keep that in mind. In fact, I have a little pin where I do a course on how to do this little pop-out graphic, and the video pin that I was using had me get up, reach out, and, you know, tap it, and that was not converting as well as I went right to the tap. So you don't want to have that really big lead up because people have already scrolled by. That's one of the things. The other thing is Pinterest has kind of the standard. If you just do a search on their business.pinterest.com, what, you know, the formats, it's usually MP4, that kind of thing. But it's a kind of the standard formats. Like if you're creating for Instagram or something like that, it's the same kind of video format as that. But I would try tall. If you have square Instagram like video that you think would work, that has a really quick action, that really will pop, and you think it explains it well without sound, then I would go ahead and try that in the Pinterest feed as well. I don't hate sound. I don't think it hurts it at all. In fact, I like to have it just in case somebody does click on it and it adds a little effect to it. But you want to make sure that it can work without sound. So if it's like you're talking a voiceover on something, that's probably not going to matter. You probably want to have that as subtitles or something on there. Yeah. But
that was just what I was getting ready to ask. Can we replace the sound with captions on the videos? Yeah.
And the other thing is like I do have a board where I have all my YouTube videos, because YouTube videos will work on Pinterest. That's just for people who come and want to get into my content. But most of the time, those don't work. Like, we can't take this live and just take it and plop it over on Pinterest and expect it to perform. It's short form content. It needs to catch the eye really quick. It needs to be it like a demonstration of a product or a quick motion. I've seen a lot of teachers who are doing like Teachers Pay Teachers, doing like they'll do a time lapse of something. They're putting together a craft really quick. Time lapses do really well, both on Instagram and Pinterest. But you also want to make sure you have a clear call to action in that video pin. You want to tell them what to do. Just like we talked about before, you want to have that clear call to action, because Pinterest video pins work different than regular pins. Like if you click on a regular pin, it goes straight to the web page or straight to the link that you have linked on there. On the desktop version, you have to click on, I believe, the title to get them to go. And so you want to make sure, Amy even talked about before, that she actually tells people in her descriptions to click on the title or click here to make them go to their site, because there's a little bit, an extra step on video pins. In fact, video pins usually get a lot of engagement, and you have to work really hard to get them to click over. So that's why you need to have that clear call to action, which a lot of people, I think, leave out.
And you have to be aware too, and this is, I hope Pinterest fixes this, but it depends on how people are consuming the content. If they're on their desktop, it's in the comments or, you know, above. If the end user is on a mobile device, there's a little button underneath.
Right.
So it's, you know, you can't have one call to action, because you never know which one of or you have to let them know. It's an education process. So hopefully Pinterest will fix that, because I think that is a bit of a disconnect for traffic. But the good news about video pins is they're an interruption in the platform, and people are loving it. You know, and if you think about it, video is doing so well on every other social platform. Why would Pinterest be any different? It's not. But the opportunity for us as marketers is that not a lot of people are yet using video pins. So hello, opportunity knocking. Like I say, be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a challenge on this very thing, teaching people how to create video pins that are going to convert and drive traffic. Traffic and convert. Maybe I put the cart before the horse there.
Can I bring up a comment real quick? It's just from Mary, and she goes, so I'm a vocalist, so sound is key. So on that, Mary, I would make sure in your description and even in the video pin that you would say, click for sound or something. If sound is a part of what you're selling, make sure you tell them that in the pin. Don't expect them to do it on their own. So I would make that be almost a part of your call to action. Like, if you're like advertising, like you're teaching vocal lessons or something like that, you would want to make sure that you click on that. And like, let's say we go with that example, a vocalist, make sure that it would be like you sitting down with the piano and you see somebody with their mouth open singing, something like that, that would kind of convey and get somebody to click on it to find out more. So try to be a little creative in, what you're doing if you have to use sound.
Well, and I was just going to add exactly, I mean, just a tad bit more. I agree 100%. But one thing that I've seen some people do where sound is really important is even add that to your video, click for sound.
Right.
That's another option as well. And yet it wouldn't necessarily have to be all over the image, but put it at the top, maybe click for sound so that people know that they need to click because you have something important you want them to hear. So I think that would be important too. Okay, so recently, and I know even though Pinterest has not rolled these out to everyone, I hate when they do this because you talk about it and you get everybody excited and then they go and they say, well, I don't have it yet. So it's such a letdown. But recently, Pinterest rolled out story pins. I'm not sorry, story pins. That's
right.
And they're basically just like, Instagram stories or Facebook stories. Everybody's capitalizing on this short burst of content because people's attention spans are what they are, right? So what do you see as a benefit for the story pins? Pros and cons kind of thing, because I know there's some cons to them as well.
So I have just dipped my toe into story pins. I do have access. So they're not out to everybody yet. So if you don't have story pins, don't freak out because they're in beta and they're kind of rolling out to more and more people every day. But what they are is like what Kim said, they are actually stories that are going, straight from, they look like Instagram stories, but you can also add video to them. So they are wanting you to tell a story. And so a lot of people who have been using those, a lot of my friends have been using them. They've been getting great engagement. It's really, story pins help grow your Pinterest account, which can be good, and doesn't really matter kind of whichever way you think. Cause, it does bring a lot of engagement there, but right now there's no way to have a link on story pins, which really bothers me. That's the whole reason that I like to, I'm doing stuff on Pinterest is because I want to drive traffic back to my site. But there is a lot to be said about brand awareness and growing your account on Pinterest, and it's very new, so it could change because, like I said, it's rolling out right now. So I'm hoping eventually they'll add a link, like even at the end or something, so you can drive traffic back to your site. What it does now is it kind of gives you like visibility to your Pinterest account, and if people like it, then they start following you and your boards and that kind of thing. So I think they're really, really cool. Pinterest is really, really hot on them right now, so it's worth going in there if you have them to create a couple and to see how they perform. But just realize they're not going to be a traffic driver. So don't give up like creating your pins and that you're doing already to drive traffic. Use this kind of to like supplement and maybe grow your Pinterest account and get your other pins in front of more people.
Yeah, I kind of view them right now anyway as a growth tool, versus or an awareness kind of thing. I think a lot of people that I've heard that are using the Pinterest, the Pinterest or the story pins, are saying that the value has been the growth of their account, right, versus traffic right now. But that's a value add too. I mean, the more people that see or follow your content, that means your content's going to show up in their feeds more frequently and that kind of stuff. So there is a win there. So as we're waiting, we're going to pull up all of the winners today for the all the stuff. So I know one of the things I forgot to tell you guys as we were doing the little guessing game first is we were actually going to choose a winner for my Go Social Content Club. My Go Social Content Club is a monthly subscription that gives people pre-designed, professionally designed social media content. So we're giving away 1 month of that to our guessers for our guessing game. And the winner for that looks like is Kelly. Kelly Mahaber. Hopefully I said that correctly, Kelly. So Kelly, if you will send us your email address, just send us a message on Facebook. Just go send message right there, and we will get you set up for 1 month of the Go Social Content Club. And we have, other winners, which is our ring light winner, is Cheryl Sales. So Cheryl, we will need a mailing address for you. So same thing, if you'll just send us a message with your mailing address, we will get that in the mail to you ASAP. And then there are other winners. We have a webcam cover winner is Cindy Stahl Dale. So Cindy, if you will do the same, send us your mailing address because it is a physical thing. We're going to have to get it out in the mail to you, and we'll do that ASAP. We also have 3 months of our sponsor, which is Easil.com. So you'll get an account with Easil for 3 months. It's our pro account. And those winners are Shannon, Lisa, and Sandy. So Shannon, Lisa, and Sandy, please just send us your email address and we will get you set up ASAP. And don't forget, guys, that we really would love it, and I think it's going to be a huge option or value add for you. If you go check out the freebie that we're giving away today, we did this in conjunction with our sponsor, which is Easil.com. And if you go check out kimgross.com/free images, you can get 30 days of pre-designed content for your business. And this is, again, professionally designed content. Yeah, all you have to do is to brand it to your business, is click on the link. You can do it all for free. There is no charge for any of this. No credit cards required, none of it to use the tool Easil.com to brand the images. If you like the images as they are, just download them and go to town. Use them on your socials. But definitely check that out. I think you'll love that. We've been working on that for several months. Okay, so Jeff, real quick, I only have just a few minutes. So if somebody is not really leveraging social media, Pinterest right now, do you have just one core strategy to get them out the gate fast?
So first thing is to go get a business account. We talked about that earlier. Make sure you're doing that. And then just go, Pinterest has a free a way to create pins inside of Pinterest. Once you sign up for Pinterest, there's they didn't used to have this tool, but you can actually create pins and schedule them in Pinterest itself. So that's a great tool to get started. Make sure your text is clear. Make sure you have a clear call to action. They have a great branding guide at business.pinterest.com, so check that out. But that would be the first thing, is go there and start now. Remember, it's not like Facebook where you're going to have instant gratification as soon as you post something. It's a slow burn. But if you're consistent, you're really going to start seeing that traffic come back to your blog or your product. And we didn't even get into e-commerce, which is a whole nother thing. So, but it's very, very powerful. Just to get started, just go out there and create a pin and start putting stuff on Pinterest.
Definitely. And again, guys, pay attention because next week, starting Monday, at 10 a.m. on this show, Marketing That Grows Your Business show, we're going to have an entire week of what we call Pinterest Palooza. Great guests are going to come on and share their secret sauce with us. Following week, we're going to be doing a challenge. So again, be on the lookout because we got you. We're gonna do a lot more, dig into this a lot more, and hopefully get you off and running at a rapid clip with Pinterest. So if you're not using it, come back because we're going to be helping you out, I promise. And there's no charge, it's all totally free, guys. So Jeff, thank you so much for joining us and covering down, since we were unable to get Lori in. So it's all good. Appreciate you. You guys have a great one. Take care. God bless. Stay safe.